Hello everyone, it is Ben, Heather, and Megan from Heather Travels, and we are making this video from the living room of our rental condominium in Estes Park, Colorado. We are just a couple of miles down the road from the Fall River entrance to Rocky Mountain National Park. This morning, we went on a 2-hour horseback ride in Rocky Mountain National Park, and we booked the ride through National Park Gateway Stables, and it was great. It was a really great experience, and it was a really different ride than the one that we did a couple of months ago in June on Mackinac Island. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it right up here. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the ride, how much it costs, and then have the kids share their experiences of what they thought of it. Okay, so first of all, we went, it was 3 of us, and then a couple, I think they were a married couple, and our guide, Josh. Without a doubt, the best thing about our ride, I mean, it was amazing scenery. We were going through the mountains. The horses were great, but the best thing about our ride was our guide. He was fantastic. He spent most of the ride on his horse, Dusty, backwards. He literally sat backwards in the saddle, didn't have his feet in the stirrups.
So he could see and watch, or see us.
He was obviously very used to working with kids. He also works with disabled veterans. We were like really stunned and amazed. He talked about how they bring single, double, triple, even quadruple amputees out and ride the horses, and
we just don't,
we can't even picture how that works. But he said that if the horses can do that, they're going to take care of you. Like, he was reassuring us about the behavior of the horses, and he shared his story, like his personal story, his history, where he was from Iowa, shared a lot about his life, which was really interesting. He was also very interested in us. He really enjoyed having us on the ride because we asked a lot of questions. We were very curious. He told us so much about the nature around here, everything from the mountains themselves, the tribal peoples that lived here before, things you could do with the plants. You know, we learned a whole bunch of stuff about the aspen trees, how they're actually a giant living organism, and all sorts of things. He was just an incredible guide, and he did everything from telling us about where we were, talking to us about the horses, sharing stories with us, singing, making jokes. He made lots of puns and funny rhymes. He kept us engaged and entertained throughout the entire ride. And so in addition to his excellent guide skills, and he was also constantly making sure that we were comfortable and safe and reassuring us about the horses and things like that. That was really a major part of what made it a good experience. He put us in order. He was in the lead, and then it was Ben on his horse, Silverado. And then it was Megan on her horse,
Comanche.
And then it was me on my horse, Quest. And then it was the wife of the couple was right behind me, and she was on Casey. And then her husband
was on Grizz.
And it was really funny because Grizz was always lagging behind. And so he would stop us. He's like, okay, everybody pull on your reins, stop. Because he was waiting for Grizz to catch up. And I don't think that gentleman had any experience riding.
I heard his wife, girlfriend, or whatever, say things a couple times. I can't remember what they were now. But the way she said them made me think
he had never
experience ridden a
horse before. But our guide, Josh, was so funny because he would make these comments. Like, one time he joked about how the guy was being such a great, like, for the rest of us, like being the sacrificial person at the back so that the bears would get him instead of the rest of us. And then another time he talked about, he would say, like, look at that majestic man coming on his mighty steed down the thing or whatever.
He made up these little rhymes, like, on the spot. Like, I'm surprised the guy's not a poet, honestly.
Yeah.
But he would make up these rhymes on the spot, and he sounded like a racetrack announcer.
It was really great.
He did a lot of funny impressions and accents and stuff.
Yeah. So that was really great. And so everybody in our group of 5 had a very positive experience because of our guide was so great. I did give him a very generous tip at the end because I felt like he deserved it.
He definitely deserved it.
And he explained that they were kind of working all tear basically this summer because the pandemic had really messed things up for the stables because they didn't get to open. And he said normally they open April 2nd, and they didn't get to open this year until the last day of May. And so their season is significantly shortened because of that. The horses were great. Mine was a little quirky. Quest, he kept wanting to eat the thistles, and they're not supposed to eat anything. And I had kind of a hard time getting him to stop trying to eat. My horse Quest would also just periodically just stop and didn't want to go for no reason and just didn't want to go. And I would have to really urge him and kick him. And he was
lazy.
Lazy, yeah. He said Quest was lazy.
They did say at one point that all the horses were boys.
Okay, yeah. And the horses actually winter in and are from Iowa. They don't live here year round. They live in Iowa. The owner of the stables that was there, she said she's from Michigan originally. So, because we mentioned that the last time we had gone riding was on Mackinac Island, and she knew exactly what I was talking about because she said she was from Michigan. So that was kind of interesting. Actually, everybody that worked there was from the Midwest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, well, I don't know about all the other, but the one other tour guide was also from Iowa.
Yeah.
But there was a third guy there, and I didn't catch where he was from. I'm not sure how much, they didn't say much about how they matched us up with the horses. I don't think there was a lot of concern with that. It sort of sounded like all of the horses were capable of taking anyone.
When we were on Mackinac Island, they paired us up based on height and experience. And who wants the lead horse and who wants a horse
that follows.
But this one, all the horses just seemed pretty much the same.
It might have had a lot to do with the difficulty of the terrain. That was the other thing that was really significant about this ride. And I'm very glad I picked this one because these same folks have another stable a ways away from here called no, it started with a C. I'll put the name of it in right here.
Well, they had Rocky Paths.
Yeah, and he said that one goes straight up the mountain and is very steep. And if there was one place where we were going down at a pretty steep angle, and it was very rocky, and I didn't feel and my horse kept kind of going to the edge.
Yeah, they kept standing right on
the edge
and turning towards the edges.
Yeah, and it made us very nervous. And he's like, "Don't worry, they don't want to fall over the cliff any more than you do." And you're like, "Okay, please go over here." Yeah. He said that if we didn't like that, then we really would not have liked that other one because
that sort of section would have been the easiest part of the other trail.
And for us, that was one of the worst parts. So the trail varied a lot from flat and calm to, one point we went on a road on a bridge to cross the river, and to very steep, up and down, rough, windy switchbacks, lots and lots of rocks and boulders. I was very impressed with the sure-footedness of the horses.
Yeah.
And they were very careful. The horses definitely wanted to know where they were stepping.
Josh, our guide, said that number one, horses are one of the most sure-footed animals on Earth, and he also pointed out, had us look at the horse's hooves the hoofs of the horse in front of us, because they all stepped in a pattern. Wherever their front hoof landed, when they stepped forward again, their back hoof would land in the exact same place. Right. Because they knew that spot was clear of rocks.
He was also very concerned that we maintained good spacing between the horses. He didn't want us to let the horses get too close together. And a couple times they did, and so then we'd have to stop or back them up or, so that we always had space. And that was good that he did that, because if they had slipped or anything, they would have, hit each other. Yeah. And also, Megan's horse was really irritated by the flies. Mm-hmm. It kept kind of he kept turning his head around, chewing his side, and pushing her foot out of her left stirrup.
Same.
Yeah, yours too. And when he did that, he was also kicking his back legs. And if I was too close to the back of her horse, my horse would have got kicked in the face. And then there were other places that were just fields and prairie, and you had the mountains in the background. And it was just amazing scenery. I did not take any video. I had my camera, my regular Canon camera, in a little case on a carabiner on my jeans. And that's all I had with me. And I didn't want, it was already very difficult for me to manage the reins and get that camera out of the case just to snap the few pictures that I'm including in this video. And so I didn't want to mess with video. That was challenging enough.
I also think that with the guide experience that Josh gave, I feel like it kind of would have ruined it if we'd tried to video.
Yeah, I do too, because you really had to be there.
Yeah, like we were all back and forth engaging conversation too.
Right.
So
it wasn't really, something I would want to video. We wanted to be in the moment and experiencing it. He really was so pleased and thanked us so many times for coming, and really seemed glad that we were very excited about the experience and into it and stuff. Wanted to encourage us that these are the kind of experiences he really thinks kids should have, getting out in nature and doing things and actually,
instead of staying like cooped up at home.
Right. The cost of this ride, this was a 2-hour ride, and it was $80 per person. They also offered, so it was $240 for the 3 of us, and then plus the tip that I gave our guide. And
jeez, I don't want to know how expensive those like 8-9-hour rides are.
They also had 4-hour rides, so half-day rides, and they also offered full-day rides, so like 8 or 9 hours. And he talked to us about those and showed us where they went as we went along. He said, if you did the half-day ride, you'd go up to that peak. If you did the full-day ride, you'd go there. And he showed us where the places were. And I asked about how do they pack a lunch and stuff. They had ponchos on the back of the saddles for us in case it rained. And this afternoon, it did rain. So if there were people out this afternoon,
they probably used the ponchos.
Right. And I asked him how did they deal with the horse feed and water for the horses when they went on those all-day rides. And he said they let them graze, and they must be certain kinds of grass they let them graze on, because they were pretty picky about their diet. And he said, and then there's a couple of rivers way high up, like glacial rivers that they would let them drink out of. And if necessary, they could bring a collapsible bucket of water on the horse for the horses to drink. So I'm not quite sure. You could look at their website. I'll put it in the description down below. I'm not quite sure how long those half and whole day rides. I did hear Mary on the phone booking a 4-hour ride as we were leaving. And I think the group that we passed as we were coming back, which was a group of like 7-8 people maybe, they were probably another 2-hour ride.
Because it was on the same trail
that we took.
The half-day ride, he said, was 6 hours.
Okay.
I think he actually said it would be like 4 hours up the mountain and then
2 hours back
down.
Yeah, obviously that would take longer to go up the mountain. A couple things I would say. She did say that they take children as young as 4.
Oh, wow.
However, if you're afraid of heights, you're not comfortable around horses, I wouldn't recommend this.
No, definitely not.
If you aren't comfortable, you had to be able to adjust yourself in the saddle when we were going up and when we were going down, and
it did get kind of frightening
at some spots. Yeah, it's definitely very rough terrain. I mean, it's beautiful scenery, but the trails are not, these aren't, he explained to us how he had to go out and haul dirt and rocks and all this stuff just to make the trails at all. And just, again, lots of boulders, lots of narrow little crevices that the horses had to walk in.
A lot of the times you really just had to trust the horse.
That they knew what they were doing.
That they knew what they were doing.
Obviously, the horses do know what they're doing, though, since Josh was riding on his horse backwards, and the horse, he didn't even have to tell Dusty, his horse, where to go. So Dusty just knew where to go. Those are some considerations, but it was definitely a valuable experience. One other thing, we did get very dirty.
Yes.
They're saying that this is he said it was the driest summer they've had here in Colorado in 100 years. Both today and when we went up hiking on the top of the mountain in Vail the other day, we got filthy. I mean, we're covered. Our shoes are ruined. We got just covered in dust. Inside my nose even. I mean, just covered in dust. And there's also these fires right now. And so I think we're also getting smoke on us. And I mean, after we got done, I dropped the kids back here at the condo and I went into town to get lunch. And I noticed when I was getting the stuff that I smelled totally of horse. So we all wanted to take baths and showers when we got back so if you don't like getting dirty and you don't want to smell like a horse, then you probably shouldn't do it either. Let the kids just say overall, how was the experience for you, and compare it to Mackinac Island.
I really enjoyed it. I don't know exactly why, like there's not a specific reason that I can place, but I think I did like the Mackinac Island one better, though they were both amazing and I would definitely do both of them again. I'm actually not sure which I preferred. The silence on the Mackinac Island, like sometimes there were just points of silence on the Mackinac Island.
It was very peaceful.
It was very peaceful, but Josh's tour thing, talking, was very entertaining too. So I definitely wouldn't have wanted to go without that on this trip. I think because it was a 2-hour ride, I did start to get, like, my legs got rather sore, and I found some points, like, even my feet were quivering because of, like, tension or whatever going up and down the hills. And because we have been hiking a little bit on this trip.
Yeah, our
too,
legs are already sore.
Our legs were already sore, and I mean, I jumped off the bike the other day and, like, jarred my ankle and my hip, so those were definitely starting to hurt. Even now, I'm just a bit sore all over. It was long enough to get uncomfortable, but not so long that I was to the point of, like,
pain.
I never said to myself, gosh, I really hope this ends soon.
No, I didn't either.
I actually find myself getting disappointed every time I thought we were coming to the end, because it was very, very fun, and I would definitely do it again. I definitely recommend this place. It was really great.
What did you think, Ben?
I agree with Megan on most of the things, but I actually like this one better because it was longer. And on Mackinac Island, obviously, it's a small little island, and you kind of know, like, what most of the things are. But Colorado, it's just forest and forest and forest and forest.
He's got a point. This felt much more exploring.
You said it felt like an adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also the commentary and entertainment was definitely...
Commentary, that's the word.
Commentary, yeah.
definitely added.
And Ben got to be right up front by Josh. So Ben definitely got to have the most, like, interaction with him, and he could hear everything he was saying really well. So I think that was really great for Ben too. But yeah, it's kind of like a mystery. You didn't know where you were going. It's not like on Mackinac Island we went through town and then we went through the woods. And went like
basic woods and
a neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so, but this one, we had obviously Josh knew where we were going. The horses probably knew where they were going, but I mean, every turn you didn't know what was coming next. Oh my gosh! There's another mountain. Oh, look, there's snow.
And we had no idea. We had no idea, like, what time it was or anything. So
we didn't have none of us brought our phones. We didn't have watches on. We had no idea what time it was. We had no idea how long we'd been out, and that was awesome.
Yeah, it felt really cool. It was a really great experience, and I think it was great to just, like, step away from the real world and just have that little adventure.
Yeah, it was great. So we do highly recommend it. Just keep the things in mind that we said if you have concerns about those. This place was great, and they get like 5 stars online, and I see why. It doesn't look like much when you go up to it. It's like some horses in a paddock, and some mountains over there, and it doesn't look like, but they were very ready for us. They helped us get on and off the horses. They were obviously very concerned about safety.
They seemed very well equipped
and professional.
Yes. One thing in comparison, comparing the Mackinac and this ride, I think because we were talking to each other, like, constantly, like Josh was talking to us and we were talking to each other all through this ride, I definitely felt less of a connection with Comanche than I did with my horse Hop on Mackinac Island. Whereas on Mackinac Island, I was, like, talking to Hop the entire time and petting him, and
that's a very good point, because I was definitely talking to Prince. You really were connected on Mackinac Island to your horse, because it was like you and the horse. And on this one, the horses, we were on the horses, but we weren't really paying attention to the horses. Yeah. We were talking to each other.
I did give Comanche praise. And
and I pet him, and
just not nearly as much as I did.
And I almost kind of wanted to leave my horse alone on this one.
Yeah.
Because they needed to concentrate.
Right. Yeah.
Because the terrain was so challenging and difficult, I didn't want to be distracting my horse. I wanted my horse to really focus on where are you putting your feet so we don't die. You know, so I mean, it was, yeah, that is a very good point, Megan, about the difference in the connection with the horse. So thank you everyone for watching this. We hope this was helpful to you. I really hope that you'll seriously consider going for a horseback ride if you've never had a trail ride. They're all over the country. I mean, you can find good trail rides everywhere. So really consider it, and consider taking your kids if you haven't ever done that before. If you like this video, please be sure to give us a thumbs up down below. And if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please be sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Safe travels.
Safe travels.